Would love to start with something that you mentioned in the pre-show notes about your biggest aha moment with marketing and sales, about how the old world in creating demand is gone. And you mentioned if your sales team is not caught up to this, you're going to lose. I want to hear your take on this because I definitely agree with it, and I feel like it'll be a nice segue into you and why you're building the company you're building. But would love to start there and hear your take on that.
Sure. So, we view the world as like everything, AI kind of shifted it and changed it a lot, but the whole world of B2C shifted dramatically in removing friction. Like everything is easy, right? You can buy from Instagram, you come to a website, you pick a thing, you click on a button like an Apple Pay, and that's done. Like we don't need to move to the cart and like everything that used to happen there. But B2B, what we've seen is that it's like the opposite, right? It's like, there is a very clear buyer journey. I'm going to collect your email because you registered your webinar, you download the report, or you fill out a form in an ad, etc. And then I'm going to do an email marketing campaign, and then I'm hopefully educating you to the level of you then coming to my website, clicking on a book a demo form, and either pick a time or wait for somebody to follow up. And it's like, it was great, for the past, but what AI kind of all of us taught us is immediacy. Like, I have a question, I'm going to ask it with ChatGPT or Claude, going to get an answer right away. And I think that's kind of a big shift that happened from a buyer, which also got to the fact of why I don't see pure cold outbound going to work, because it's just another noise into a whole system. And if I want to know now something, I want to know it now, right? So that's kind of the shift, at least, that we are seeing more and more. And I'm a big believer that everything on inbound social selling, kind of everything that kind of trying to help me make the decision faster, that's probably going to be the thing that's going to be more successful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I've always talked about how we're moving from a world that had so many static experiences to now everything needs to be interactive and dynamic. And you mentioned you're seeing in the B2B space, it just seems sometimes so archaic when you land on people's websites. They're still in this static world. And as you were just talking about an example funnel of a B2B company, I was thinking in my head, how many forms are still out there, right? Like the amount of forms is insane.
Yes.
Is there anything that you're seeing when you go and talk with companies in the B2B space that could be potential customers of Knock? Is there anything that you're seeing as a reoccurring theme? And maybe it is like they just have an insane number of forms, or there's an insane number of loops to go through. Does anything come to mind when I ask that? Is there anything that you're seeing like just commonly pop up within these sales teams?
Yeah, so I guess what we are seeing kind of are two teams today, if we kind of look at it. Team number one, and it's all a matter of goals. Like, still marketing is measured on MQL, which means all marketing does is let me give you an email. And this exactly kind of lead to the trust of salespeople, because then salespeople doesn't trust it, and then they don't want to expose their calendar, and they don't want, like, I don't want marketing to book a meeting for me, right? Like, give me the lead where it's fully baked, and then I might agree to talk to it. So this is one type of a team, and those are the marketers that we are still seeing that going to tell me like, oh, I want my customer to spend as much time on my website because they are measured on visitors and how many pages they've read, and did they give their email or not. So that's one. And then the advanced marketer understand that actually when you look at demand, it have to go with sellers, and it have to push into sellers. Like, it have to work hand in hand with them, and therefore they are going to be measured on the amount of SQLs and pipeline being closed. And then they don't care about getting another email. They care about getting something qualified and helping in the qualification and helping in getting those to engage faster. That's kind of what they care about. And this is kind of the difference. And then they're open to like, oh, I don't need to be in a form. I don't like, those are the things that are exactly can change, I believe, the entire way of how things are being shaped and done versus anything else. And we are even starting to see dimension that reports to CRO because of that.
Yeah. So do you think that there's a still to date in the bigger companies, there's a metric misalignment as far as like what the teams are tracked on? Like it seems like, and you said it perfectly, an MQL, right, is basically just getting someone's email and they're like, yes, I got that. My MQLs are up for the quarter. This is amazing. But
Yes.
Is that actually translating to revenue? Probably not in most cases. Are you seeing or maybe hearing from other like sales and marketing leaders that they're trying to solve this like misalignment and basically make teams that are fully focused on performance and sales?
Yeah, so these are the second one, and we are starting to see more and more shift around that. These are definitely the second one where it's much more of like either demand sitting under CRO and kind of helping it one goal, or either marketers are being measured on the pipeline or like SQLs versus anything else, and that's kind of what our measures. So we are starting to see definitely this type of a shift, and definitely the understanding of marketing that if they're done gonna own revenue, they're just not, probably not gonna be there on that perspective. So it's starting, but yeah, there's still a long path to take us there, but yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday about like how fast AI and tech has seemingly changed, but there's still such a large amount of people that are going to need to catch up. Do you feel that same way too?
Yes, it seems that, we've all passed the motion of like, great, AI is a great way to do chat and asking question and get answer. Like we all moved from that angle, and now it's starting to move into how it helps us doing some parts that are more operational. But to really start changing workflow to impact what is scoring, right? And how do we look at a lead score, and how do we look at all of those? We're not there maturity-wise perspective. I think that's going to be the third step, and there are companies that have definitely done that, but there are companies who are still like more looking at like, yeah, let's do an AI project and try to see how it helps us deliver better content and how it's kind of, save us time to not updating HubSpot data, but it's not there to the level of how it's really a workflow, more of approach, more of kind of how it's really shifting like how we look at the buyer and how we look at everything related into that. So yeah,
totally. Can you talk a little bit about the activities you've done on inbound? You mentioned that, and I think you've done a really cool way of getting people to knock in the most like authentic way possible, I would say. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so we're definitely and we keep on exploring a lot of other ways of inbound. No, it's not that we see great, like if I'm looking at pipeline, like 80% of our pipeline is inbound, which is amazing, but we want to be higher than that. Like, right, that's kind of our aim there. And I think that one thing that's definitely across the board is the dog fooding. It's like us trying to, because you can experience knock yourself. Mm-hmm. So we are trying to push it hard in a post that we publish, a message that we send. Like our whole goal is how do we help you try the solution? Because if you're gonna try, then you can talk to me. So even when I'm doing an out, like somebody liked and post that we write, right, and we want to do an outreach to them, the outreach going to be like, we don't want to talk like, here, click, try it, like, relevant, great, let's book a demo. Not relevant, not interesting, like that's, I don't need to chase you around that. I want you to experience it, because and that's kind of what we're trying to do in outbound, is in inbound, sorry. It's a lot about how do we get you to experience something, and then because of that, now let's start doing more about that. So that's definitely a focus on what's been successful to us, and just pushing our link to chat everywhere, even when we do like thought leadership in LinkedIn, and it's been amazing for us. At the end of the post, it's, oh, sure, you can go to my website or click here, let's have a chat and let's have a discussion, and then you can experience it.
It almost feels like we're moving toward this try before you buy world being like 100% mandatory versus, as we talked about earlier, going through the loops of forms and trying to get in contact with a person. Like people just aren't going to do that anymore. It just almost feels like you almost have to have a try before you buy scenario in some sort of way.
I agree. I definitely agree. Like Because even if you think about it in a very sales-led heavy motion, who has the time now to go to a 15 minutes discovery call? Like, who wants to do that? Like, I want to see the solution. Like, I came for a reason, right? It's like, because I can probably investigate about what's your solution in a community or ask an LLM. Now I came and I want to waste my time or spend my time with you. I don't want it to be like a 15 minutes you asking me like 20 questions and then I need to wait. Like, I want to do it now. I want to see something now. And I do think the whole idea of me trying it, it's definitely going to happen there. And it can be in a lot of different ways. Why it doesn't have to be like a 14 days trial. It's like we should move differently on that perspective. So yeah.
100%. I mean, my company helps other founders build lead magnets. And I've always said we're in this world now where, as we talked about earlier, things need to be interactive. And I still see so many people shooting out the stale PDF or gated content for someone to give access to. And people don't even want to give their email out anymore, right? Like, you got to give them a reason to actually try something. So I love what you said about an experience, because I feel like even if you're not a tech company, maybe you're a tech-enabled service, you can still give someone an experience now. It doesn't have to be booking a demo or a discovery call with you. There can be so many different ways to do that.
I agree 100%. Agree. It's like you need to see it's also, end of the day, experience drive emotions. And emotion is what drives me to buy, right? Like, end of the day, that's why as a consumer, why we buy a product, usually why we buy a product, because we love the brand, we love whoever represent the brand. Something there make us buy it. And it's not a different in B2B. Like, psychology-wise perspective, you need to create for somebody to say, okay, like, that created something I resonate with whatever the message came. I resonate with whatever the activity, like something touched me, something created curiosity, and now I want to utilize it. That's going to happen until machines are going to buy everything and make all the decisions. Like, when that's going to happen, who knows how the buying journey will look like. But until there is a human that make a decision, we have to make them, feel in and experience something. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Do you think this motion favors small companies more now? Because big companies, they take so long to adapt to this. Like, I just see a world where, because small companies can experiment fast, right? You and I can launch something tonight if we wanted to.
Yes.
Versus at a big company, you have to go through so many hoops to get that experience approved and launched. It just feels like they're still behind, and the big companies are not catching up to that fact, and it's taking a long time to do that.
I agree. I mean, the huge advantage that big company has is data, right? Is the fact that they have so much data point and they can learn. But the disadvantage is exactly like there are too many hoops and so many, like, there's not ability to make a decision fast. And that's, I think, what's like a big company that's going to be able to kill and change their workflow is going to, skyrocket. Like, that's without a doubt, because they will have the two advantages. But for now, yes, that's why you see the most creative activities coming from smaller companies, like, cool idea that create emotion. That's why also I think like LinkedIn as a source to drive, the inbound is like, you see a lot of the small, medium companies that are succeeding with it versus the, large, bigger ones that are just, moving slowly on that part. So, yeah.
Is there any specific customer persona that you guys have seen work best with Knock? Would be curious to hear more on that.
Yeah, there are a lot.
I mean, I bet, like, yeah, there's so many. I think of like all the just static forms and horrible experiences that
exactly. And the fun part is that once you have somebody that can really like bring creativity into that, the amount of use cases we are seeing and where we are heading, right? Because it can be the regular, on the website you had a chat to start engagement rather than a form, like that. That's the very basic. But then we start seeing people putting it into landing pages, inside content. Like, suddenly I'm seeing a content, great, here is a QR code to scan and start engaging from the content perspective. Events, swag, like with a customer that in a swag put a QR code, like instead of, just here is a gift and that's what it is, you suddenly scan a QR code and you can start engagement from the swag itself. So the whole digital physical can definitely kind of break into a new thing. We are seeing customer that edit into an ad itself. So instead of just, I've seen an ad, here's a form, like a LinkedIn form, Facebook form, etc. to fill out, suddenly now I can click and start having a, a chat. So we have customers on Facebook. They start a WhatsApp chat from the Facebook ad, and you get an AI that chat with you, qualify you, a human get into the loop, and suddenly this all ad that's supposed to be top of the funnel, just come and learn, turn to be something with engagement happening. And that's kind of, that's exactly the way we view it. Is we want to, at the end of the day, say you should, every moment is a touch point, and every moment needs to be, let's grab it, and utilize it to move the buyer further, rather than collect an email and then kind of get you into the email marketing sequence of things. So yes.
Well, almost feels like what you guys are helping do is really like simplify the funnel in a good way. Like if I'm able to, we'll use the ad, for example, click on the ad and immediately start engaging. That's amazing. It's a quick win. I'm building momentum. I'm building trust as I'm doing that. Versus the past of, I'm going to get put into this 3 to 7 day nurture campaign, right? And I'm going to get a ton of emails, and it just felt, to me, it's always felt robotic, those types of nurture type campaigns. But now with what you guys are doing and allowing companies to do, it seems like it's, immediately allowing them to engage with the customer and build trust and get them to those next steps so they get a sale quicker.
Yeah, agree. Like if I'm looking kind of the value prop on that perspective, yes, it's getting more conversion. But then the other part is basically shortening the sales cycle and making sure that they can get it. And the funny part is, like, our audience is marketers. Mm-hmm. But every time I'm talking to a CRO, VP sales, like, they're telling me, wait, getting more qualified leads faster into my hand of my team, like, yes, for sure. Go for it. Like, that's what I want. My problem is they usually say, but now get my marketing to pay for it. But
yeah.
That's a different story. But yes, like that's exactly, like, end of the day, it's the goal of let's get seller more engaged with qualified lead faster. And that's kind of the case. And if we talked before about the structure, when we have a marketer that understands it is aligned with sales, that's what they want to give them, right? Then they would say, let's kind of do it. Let's push in that direction. Let's get them, to schedule a demo. Let's get them moving faster into the cycle. And when you have a marketer who's focusing on MQL and is not aligned with his seller, it's like, wait, so now I need to bring a sales rep to check with leads? Yeah, that's not going to work. I'm never going to be. I need to save my SDR time or my seller's time, etc. And this is exactly the good indication of, a team that works in alignment versus not.
Yeah. Something that you said that was interesting too was the mix of the digital and physical worlds. I'm seeing more and more companies get out into the physical and wanting to engage their customers offline. But the cool thing that you guys are able to do with what you said is you're also able to take that physical experience and bring it back to the digital world and bring it back into their pipeline. Are you seeing more companies start to realize that it's probably going to be important to also have a physical presence of some sort in this world?
Yes, 100%. And it's related to experience, right? It's another type of experience to do it on a physical side of the house, whether it's, the dinners, the unique activity that you're doing, like anything, all of those are definitely going to be critical and important. And they're going to be another aspect of, the human side and the building the trust and doing all of that, physical is still winning on that aspect. Like meeting somebody face to face will always win over just the Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. Well, next time I'm in Boston, my wife and I love Boston. I'll hit you up. Seriously.
Sounds good. We'd love that.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for doing this. I'm sure this conversation is going to be insightful to a lot of people. I really loved it. And I love just nerding out on this world where, we're seeing so many static experiences still. And I want to see more interactive and dynamic experiences out there, especially as a consumer and customer. Like I crave that. So I really enjoyed hearing your insights on that. Is the best place to find you LinkedIn?
Probably, yes.
Cool. And then of course we'll link the company as well in the show. But man, thanks again for doing this.
Thank you.
Yep, have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.